Good sunny morning, Clem, to and everyone. I don't see a single cloud in the sky. Nice day today. But the rain is always welcome. We need that. We've been through seasons of drought. And so actually seasons of summer drought start this time of year and even in the winter when we don't get enough precipitation. So anyway, grateful for a sunny day. For some of you out there, today I have some of the best news you're ever going to hear. Some of you struggle deeply with shame for various reasons. Some of it's illegitimate shame. Somebody did something to you, and you are the one that feels shamed as a result, and you shouldn't. It should be on that person over there for the things that they did to you. But nevertheless, you carry about shame. Others of you have done stuff. I'm not narrowing it down to one specific thing. We've all done stuff that we're embarrassed about, ashamed about. Some of us carry quite a load of shame. And today, the reason for Monday's lesson and today's lesson was really to address the very deep burdens that we carry because of past choices and actions that we have taken. It's a story that's born out of Peter's life. Peter was the lead disciple. Jesus had his 12, and of the 12, he had 3 that he's focused more time on. And of the 3, it appears that he invested even more in Peter. Peter was a critically important person to Jesus's plan to build his church. But Peter had, I don't want to say moral issues. He had character flaws. That's better. Peter had character flaws that ultimately consumed him for a time. And that's, I want to review our verses from the other day. Jesus is explaining that he's going to go die. I should back up to here. Jesus was explaining he's going to go die and everybody's going to abandon him. And Peter says, even if all fall away on account of you, I never will. Jesus says, hey, Peter, guess what? You're going to be the worst of the bunch 3 times. You're going to deny me, and then a rooster's going to crow to remind you. And Peter says even more boldly, he's so full of pride at this point in his life. And that's the key I want you to see in Peter. Even if I have to die with you, I will never disown you. And all the other disciples fell in line with Peter. Of course, we know the story. Peter went and denied the Lord 3 times. Then Peter remembered the words Jesus had spoken. Before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times. And he went outside and he wept bitterly. And from there, even after Jesus appeared to the whole group, Peter basically had thrown up the red flag because of the shame that he felt. And he had restarted his fishing business. And that's where this story comes from, where Jesus meets them on the beach while they're out fishing, tells them, to fish in a different way in a different spot, even though Jesus is a carpenter, not a fisherman. But they do what he says. They get so many fish, the boat's going to sink, all that. They come in and they have breakfast together. Peter's still feeling the shame. And Jesus is now going to restore Peter. Interestingly, Jesus does it publicly. Probably he dealt with it publicly because Peter's failure was a very public, well-known failure. A lot of times I often think I have to deal with somebody with their problems privately. It's kind of like programmed into you, but Jesus here is doing it publicly. So here we go. And it's going to be really interesting. It centers on the word love, and there's 2 different words for the word love. Actually, there's 4 words in the Greek language that this was written in for the word love. And in our English translation, it just keeps saying love, 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 love. So you kind of sometimes miss what's going on. You have agape love, and that's always associated with God's highest love. You have phileo love, which is at times thought of as equally the same as that love, but oftentimes it's associated with human love for one another, but it is at times the word is used of God's love for us. And then you have a couple other words. They're not bad words. Erotic love, which is meant to be the physical attraction of a husband and a wife to one another, not the bad forms of eroticism we see today. And you have some other words, but this story focuses on the first two words. Sometimes they're interchangeable, sometimes they're very distinct. And let me illustrate it this way. If you were to ask me, Scott, do you love your daughter, Megan? I could say to you, oh, I care for her so much. I remember one time I gave up a whole month's data for her to use while we were traveling in the car. She used up my whole month of data, and it didn't even bother me. I would gladly did it for her. You know I care for my daughter, Megan, and you guys would know I'm saying I love my daughter, Megan. But if Karen was to turn to me someday and say, do you love me? And I was to say, you know I care for you, I would be in deep doo-doo. I'd be in trouble. Because in that case, the words are not interchangeable. So while sometimes agape and phileo are interchangeable, here they are not. Jesus is using them differently for a reason. Let's read our story. We're going to run out of time. I thought we wouldn't even have enough time to fill, or enough stuff to fill the time. Here we go. When they finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me, agape me, more than these? Remember, godly form. We're going to say godly form of love. More than these. Yes, Lord, he said, you know that I love you, I phileo you. And Jesus accepts that, and he says, well, then feed my lambs. Again, Jesus said to Simon, son of John, do you agape me? And he answered, yes, Lord, you know that I phileo you, I love you. Then take care of my sheep. Peter cannot bring himself to respond with the highest level of love. So while he's carrying around this great burden of shame, he still in his heart loves the Lord, but he will not be that proud, boastful guy, at least in this situation. And so Jesus keeps asking him, do you agape me? And he keeps responding, I phileo you. Then a third time. Remember, there were 3 denials, so there's 3 times that Jesus is going to ask him. The third time he said, Simon, son of John, do you phileo me? Notice how it's not agape like the first 2 times. It's phileo me. Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, do you love me? And he said, Lord, you know all things, and you know that I phileo you. Through the 3 of them, Peter steadfastly refuses to claim to have that highest form of godly love. He has a very good form of love for Jesus. And Jesus accepts him and says, feed my sheep. Jesus is restoring Peter back to his place of ministry, back to a good relationship with Jesus. Basically, Jesus is saying, I forgive you, Peter. You disown me. I forgive you, and I know that you love me. Now go feed my sheep. Go do something useful. Stop this talk about fishing. Nothing wrong with fishing, by the way. Many of you claim 2 people are fishermen. This is not a statement about fishing. This is a statement about the fact that God had called Peter to something different, and Peter was walking away from it. He was using fishing as a means of escape. No, Peter, stop the foolishness. Go back and feed my sheep. Take care of my sheep. And very truly, I tell you that when you were younger, you dressed yourself and you went where you wanted. But when you are old, you will stretch out your hands and someone else will dress you and lead you where you do not want to go. Tradition says, Jesus said this is to indicate the kind of death by which Peter would glorify God. Then he said, follow me. Church tradition says that Peter was hung on a cross himself, but it was upside down. I don't know. That's what church tradition says. Jesus said that he would die a death at the hands of somebody else. And Peter was martyred for his faith later in life. What does all this tell us? Sometimes we carry these deep deep burdens of shame, embarrassment, failure, things in our life. And we feel like we can't go to the Lord with it. And the Lord is saying, come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest for your souls. Jesus restored Peter. He didn't dismiss the sin. He acknowledged the sin. He got Peter to acknowledge his humble place, and then he restored Peter to the place that he wanted him to be. Jesus could do that for Peter. Jesus can do it for you, and Jesus can do it for me. And that's the good news that I said I have for some of you today, actually for all of you, that in Jesus, forgiveness and restoration are always possible. That's my word for the day. And Lord willing, I hope to see you all on Friday as we tell the final part of this story where Peter gets himself in trouble once again. But that's a whole nother story for another day. Have a good couple of days.